And we are live.
We want the gold, sucker! We want the gold, sucker!
Yo, what up? It's your boy Ben Goosen back at it again after a week off, but we had a stellar week off. I'm back here, running a bit late today for the live listeners, running a little bit late, only because we had some technical difficulties after what Sage. I'm here with my boy Sage Mark. Sage, we've been doing this on our grind officially. Actually, we just passed the 2.5 year mark, right?
Yeah, we will actually. I think in June will be 3 years, or August will be 3 years.
I thought it was October.
Was it October?
I think like beta pilot stuff was summer.
Okay. And then official launch was like in October.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I thought SummerSlam was like our first review.
It was our very first one, but that was kind of beta. Like we didn't
Okay.
do anything for another couple months after that. And we're still having
Gotcha.
technical difficulties. But you know what prevents us from having technical difficulties?
The snap.
No, we won't get into the snap yet. Go ahead and give him the link to that Patreon. Give him the link straight up to Patreon, Sage.
That's right, man. Help us stop getting these these technical difficulties by going to patreon.com/IRWP. We got some, great rewards there. We got some stickers and we got some other good stuff there, some t-shirts. But yeah, help us out, IRWP. Patreon.com/IRWP. Let's go.
Yep. Last week we went and saw Avengers, one of the greatest movies I've ever seen, one of the greatest endings to anything I've ever seen, if not the greatest. I need to see it again. You think so? Are you going to see it twice?
I definitely am going to see it twice, but not at the theaters.
So you're just going to wait for Blu-ray or whatever?
Yeah, or whatever.
I might wait for... I want to see it, but see, I got this habit. I don't know if you saw it. We've been to a couple movies together. I don't know if you saw it, but I always get a large popcorn. Can you finish a large popcorn by yourself?
Bruh, I finished that large popcorn before Ant-Man arrived.
Dude, I always buy a large popcorn, and I eat 1 inch off the top, max. And I told our friend, Center, I told him, dude, don't buy a popcorn. I buy a large every time, thinking I could eat the whole thing, and I eat about 1 inch worth, and the rest goes in the trash.
Oh, man, you should have passed that over to me, bruh.
Next
was
time-
done.
Next time we go to the movies.
First third, bruh.
No, man. I snuck in a couple bottles of Jack, and put it this way: there was so much popcorn left that after I would finish my little mini thing of Jack, I would put it in the popcorn bucket, and you can see the bottles of Jack. Whereas if I put the bottles of Jack in your popcorn bucket, you won't be able to see them because the thing was empty.
That's a nice little hiding spot there, bruh.
Yeah, it is. Either which way, Avengers, hell of a movie, man. I don't, just for our listeners' sake, I don't think we should spoil it, right?
Yeah, maybe we'll give it another week. How's that?
Yeah, we'll give it another week.
You guys got a week to go watch the movie. If you guys don't see it in a week, we spoiling it like the Red Wedding on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's how it goes down. One of the best movies. 3 hours, didn't matter. Just amazing head to toe. I would recommend anybody who hasn't seen it yet see it ASAP, because being in that crowd ambiance makes the movie that much better, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Especially towards the end of the movie. I think that you just get that comeuppance, like you get that feel like, yes, we're in it to win it, man. We've been doing this for 10 years strong, and it all just comes down to this. So yeah, definitely go check it out, guys.
Yeah. Let's get into this week in wrestling. Start before we get into Raw and SmackDown. Let's get into the pronunciation. How do you pronounce? I'm gonna spell out something, and you tell me how to pronounce it.
Okay.
Moxley.
Moxley.
Not Mosley.
You said MOX, right?
Yeah, but X could sound like Z sometimes.
Nah, man. Moxley.
All right, Jon Moxley. What is it? May 1st. Out of prison debut, aka Dean Ambrose. For those of y'all that don't know, what'd you think?
About the promo or what it means?
Both, everything, all the above.
Yeah. So I mean, I absolutely loved it. Obviously they made this thing at least a month or two beforehand. So this was definitely in the can, ready to go. As to what I think it means, I think that they tried to make the how do I say? They had the dice on the wall, and it had 2-5 on the dice, which kind of signals double or nothing. That's on the 25th of May. I think that's kind of like the vibe that they were trying to go. I'm still not sold that he's actually like gone from the E. Even though that, they're doing a good job, moving him to the alumni page. Like they're doing the most to kind of sell this thing, but I'm still not buying, man. I can't see. I can't see this being nothing but a work, bro. I think it's just a work.
Yeah. You've said it from the get-go. I didn't notice the dice on the wall. The promo, it was what it was. We'll see. I'm definitely going to watch Double or Nothing. I'm excited for Dean Ambrose. I mean, I don't have much more to say than that.
Why would his? I'm thinking logically here, man. Not as a mark, but just logically here, man. This obviously this guy is a career dude. Like he's a career dude. He's good friends with Triple H. He's a career guy. My thing is like the production value of this thing isn't something I would think that he would have came out of his own pocket to do. This seems like this was like produced by people with money. There's been a lot of references on WWE TV about people quitting and going to AEW and WWE taking shots at it, attacking the indie scenes. We've seen it progress more and more and more. And then with this whole contract suspension thing that's going on right now, like I just think that this is the perfect swerve to people. Dean Ambrose is gone, retired. Jon Moxley is coming, and this is the new shift that we're going. He's going to be on SmackDown. Is just new edgier for our edgier product, and that's just the way that it is.
Yeah, we'll see. So when do you think we'll know by?
So I think so I think it's going to be the day after Double or Nothing, man. I was thinking maybe Money in the Bank, but I think that they're going to try to play it off as like, oh, it's going to be a Double or Nothing, and then it's not going to be a Double or Nothing, and then the next day he shows up on SmackDown, or the next Tuesday he comes out on SmackDown.
Yeah, I think he's gone. And I think now that I think about it out loud, I think he's gone. And they paid him some respect that he deserved. WWE by giving, the Shield's final match and airing his final match on the WWE network and all that stuff and having a card built around it because it makes other people happy in the company in the essence of, man, WWE could have crapped on this guy bad, but they didn't. I better re-sign with him and not go to AEW or any of these other companies out there since there's the opportunity to make money outside the ring.
So, but then you're shooting yourself in the foot with this new contract suspension thing that they've rolled out recently. I don't know if you.
No, so let's talk about that. What is this contract suspension thing? And is this from legit sources, by the way?
Yeah, it's definitely from legit sources, and I believe even Leo Rush, who was on a talk show or podcast or something, also kind of alluded to it, if I'm not mistaken. But essentially what they're doing is the people who want to be let go of out of their contract or ask for the release of their contract going forward. What the WWE is doing is saying, instead of granting you your release, or if your contract is expired, I think that's how it goes. Say my contract is expired in April, but out of that last year, I was out of commission for injury for 3 months. They're basically suspending my contract for those 3 months and adding that to the end of my contract so that I can serve it out. So case in point, Luke Harper,
right?
A couple of weeks ago, he came out and said, hey, I've asked for my release. My contract is pretty much done or whatever. I'm asked for my release from the company. So it came out and it was reported that his contract was extended for the time that he was out for injury. Scott Dawson, the one with Dash Wilder, the one who had his jaw messed up.
Oh, that's right.
His contract is actually, so both Dash and Wilder's contracts were supposed to be up at the same time, so that way that they can, because they're still not re-signing with the E, is my understanding. However, Dash's contract is actually up longer because of the time that he was out. So they're tacking on that injury time to the end of his contract. So there's like a 4-month gap between Dash's contract versus Wilder's contract. Or so Dawson's contract versus Wilder's contract. I don't like it, man. I think that's a scummy way of doing business, personally. Especially if someone's asking for their release. You're 1099, you're asking for your release. And instead of just saying, hey, you can wait out your contract without pay or some type of remedy for that kind of thing, they're saying, no, we're going to tack on an extra 4 months so that way we can keep you longer, whether you decide to show or not. I think that's crummy, man. I think it's a deliberate play to prevent people from going on to greener pastures, or what they perceive to be as greener pastures.
And that 4 months is in addition, or whatever they tack on, is in addition to your non-compete. Because you have a non-compete once your contract's up, right?
So, okay, so that's the other thing. So if they release you from your contract, you have a non-compete. You have a non-complete. But if you've completed your contract, you don't have a non-compete clause, because they can't tack on a non-compete clause for independent contractor once their contract has been completed.
Done. So, and I don't like the contract extension thing either. It actually came up before we were doing the podcast years and years ago when Rey Mysterio originally left, and this was when he went to Mexico, all this other stuff. They were talking about adding time onto his contract too for the injury time, lost time. So does this just fall into the, yes, it sucks. Yes, it's maybe not the fairest thing in the world, but Luke Harper, Dash signed these contracts. They knew what they were getting into in an industry where you have a lot of injuries, where injuries are likely to occur. So does this just fall into, yeah, it sucks, but you knew what you were signing up for?
Kind of yes and no. My feeling about it is, like, your bargaining chip as an indie star coming into the WWE is very, very low. Unless you're an AJ Styles or an Adam Cole or I don't know, like a Kenny Omega, like one of those types of stars. If you're not one of those types of stars, your bargaining power is kind of low. I always say this, man. Whenever it comes to a contract, it doesn't matter what business that you're in, whether it's the wrestling business or whether it's the ice cream business, whatever you sign. When you get into a contract, you should be negotiating your contracts. This kind of stuff should not be in your contract at all. If you negotiate it, you negotiate it with. I mean, that's the whole thing with contracts. They're not supposed to be taken at face value. And people feel, I think that like these independent contractors, especially like the ones that are just coming up, they're so happy to get the opportunity to work for the WWE and hold it on a pedestal when they should be holding themselves, because they are in business for themselves. They should be holding themselves to a higher standard. And part of that,
really should.
Yeah, I mean, that is because they are the product. And if the WWE wants to be the best and they want to employ the best, it's not taking advantage of people who are just so happy to be there that they're signing their freedoms away. You really need to. It's like the NFL, right? Back in the day, the NFL was notorious for letting the rookies run wild with their money and things like that. Now it's mandatory that they go through like financial training and things like that to prevent them from, if something doesn't work out, they fall into a big old hole. Like they don't have that for wrestling at all.
So these contractors, then, what they need to do truly is sign 1-year deals.
They either
sign short-term deals for a lot of money,
or have agents. I think they should have agents, man. Like they legit should have like luring agents or an agency firm to kind of help negotiate these contracts out, because some of these terms is just freaking like asinine. I heard reports out there that some of these wrestlers that are on the main roster are only getting like 60 to 90,000 a year.
Oh God. So I think at the end of the day, you knew what you signed up for. If you sign up into a bad contract, that's on you, nobody else. But I could also see it in the essence of, all right, let's look at Edge. This is a great example. Edge probably had multiple years left on his contract. Gets hurt with an injury, neck injury. Finishes his career. He's done. Never fighting again. And I'm going to make up a number here. I don't know the answer to this. Let's say he had 2 years left on his contract. Neck injury happens. Now he can't wrestle for 2 years. He can go to WWE, or WWE can say, your contract's up, but we're going to add some injury time just to, help pay for things. So that 2 years just became 4 years. So the injury thing's not a bad thing necessarily, because Luke Harper, look, it sucks. I get it. He wants to be released. He wants to go somewhere else. Truth be told, I'm going to give you a straight up goose answer. If AEW wasn't formed, he may not be asking for his release. Truth be told. Either which way, AEW is formed, he wants his release. I get it. But I think I saw online his contract was, he wants out now. But now when they add the injured time to it, his contract's not going to be over till after WrestleMania of next year.
Yeah.
Yes, it sucks. But you're getting paid for literally nothing. Yes, it sucks the fact that he has to travel for no reason at all. Yes, that truly sucks. When you have to travel and be away from your wife and kids, your family, to do nothing all day, that sucks. I get it. But the paycheck's cleared. I mean, and he's not a young cat. He's not a young guy, but
you're subscribing to the theory that the WWE is more important than the brand by saying that, man. I think that's what's wrong with like our society as a whole. That's old archaic brainwashing mentality there. is to say that the business is important than the people who keep the lights on. And it's not, man. It isn't. You are your own brand. And if you are not getting utilized the way that you feel like you should, it's okay to ask for your release. If you were in any type of normal job,
you're not going to get it.
If you were in any other type of normal job, you know, that's always going to be on the table. I don't know, man. I honestly, it really comes down to the collective, like all the independent wrestlers, when they're going into the WWE, they really need to seriously think about hiring an attorney to do a contract negotiation. I'm sorry, man, but your health and your well-being, and your happiness, your self-worth is more important than the WWE is.
Let me tell you something about the business. I read something today that was amazing to me. It relates to this specifically. Then we'll get into Raw and SmackDown and some other bullshit from this week. Brendan Schaub, former UFC fighter. He was on what was at the time Spike TV's The Ultimate Fighter. Went to the UFC, had a couple heavyweight wins, a couple heavyweight losses, but the guy's making way more now that he's retired from UFC. Now he's doing podcast, stand-up comedy, and he's got a couple shows in the works. And he tours with stand-up comedy. And it made me think that that person could have kept fighting in the UFC. He wasn't bad, wasn't great. He could have kept fighting, but he said, you know what? I don't want to mess with these concussions and these injuries. I need to work on my brand and establish my brand. So what if wrestlers come in nowadays? I don't know what these contracts look like, but you come in nowadays and you say, you know what? I got my brand. I am me. I am a brand. Vince McMahon needs to understand
there, bro.
when he hires Ben Goosen. That's like the third time I've done it on the show. When he hires Ben Goosen, he's hiring Ben Goosen the brand. You can't tell him what to do. And then Ben Goosen the brand is just saying, you know what? I'm going to go to WWE for exposure. I don't care if I win or lose. I would love to win a championship. Who knows? But I'm on a TV show now. I could get, like, if me and you appeared on Raw or SmackDown, jobbers or not, our podcast downloads are going to go up through the roof no matter what.
Oh, for sure.
So wrestlers need to see this as, you know what, this is my brand. WWE enhances my brand. If they don't, or it's something that's not long-term going to enhance my brand, or contractually it's going to hold me down, then you know what? There's some other ways I could work on my brand. Or you just sign a 1-year contract. 2-year contract. That's it.
So I know we want to jump to the other topic, man, but let me ask you this other question, man. Are you okay with the WWE having as a 1099, having access to all of your social media profiles?
Not at all.
So that's now a thing.
So I would get it because they're a big company, so I can't go out saying racist, offensive stuff. But the things that would hurt them, a lot of things would hurt. No, okay, so this is where I'm going with this. Rusev and Lana, the engagement ring pictures. That was them with their brand, their personal brands. WWE hated it, obviously. So that's what I'm saying. I'd sign a 1-year contract. Because you could hate, like if I posted a picture that I'm getting married to somebody I'm feuding with, and WWE says I don't like it, I'd say, all right, cool. I got 2 months left. Fuck you gonna do about it?
They shouldn't have access to their accounts. They should have access.
What do you
to
mean
postings.
access? I mean, like
literally, there is a how do I say provision or a guideline or some. There's something that they had to sign that says that, hey, you have to give us all of your passwords for your social media account, and you cannot give it out to anyone.
I 100% call bullshit on that. Whatever online tweet Leo Rush saying stuff,
No,
that's 100% shit.
That came from a couple of wrestlers,
That's shit.
including Ryback.
Ryback,
and
a disgruntled wrestler.
But I will say this. Around the time, and I didn't know this until now, and I actually came to this conclusion myself. Around the time where that alleged provision and signing whatever social media contract thing came out, I noticed that people were switching their names from their wrestling names to their actual personal names. So I think that that's the way that they're trying to get around it, is saying that, hey, you can have access to my like if I was Mr. Perfect, right?
That makes total sense. If your name is Sage WWE the Mark, at that point you're using WWE in the name to gain viewers, stats, all that good stuff. So that part I get. Now, granted, if you give up your password to anybody for anything in this world, you're an idiot. Wrestler or not, you're just an idiot. So I get it. If I go to WWE and say, hey, look, what if I change my name on Twitter, on social media to Ben WWE? Are you cool with that, man? I'll probably get like 10 million followers. Yes, I get WWE saying, hey, look, then if you're using our name, we got to make sure you're not posting a bunch of stupid stuff. Give us your password. Cool, I get it. But if I'm saying no,
their password, man,
this is
they
going
can have access to post
Benjamin
to post to my stuff, but they don't have access to my DMs. That's how it should work, bro.
Yeah, I agree. That's not how it works, though. Because if Sage, if you go to a company, the WWE, and say, look, my name is Sage the Mark on Twitter. I got 500,000 followers, but if I put Sage WWE, I'll have 10 million followers. WWE has the right to say, well, all right, if you're putting our name or your gimmick name, say your gimmick name is Sage the Great in WWE. If you're using your WWE created name as your Twitter handle, I'm not saying they deserve your password, but they own probably the trademark to that name, so they deserve an extra
trademark
step
to the handle, man. Twitter owns the trademark to the handle.
But WWE, it's a correlation. Like, hey, WWE.
It ain't no correlation. I could put WWE Sage on there, and WWE cannot sue me for trademark infringement.
But it's a correlation. You're using your employer's, hey, look, employer, can I put your name in my name so I'll get followers? WWE is going to want something out of that just to cover their backside. Because what if you go on
permission
some
to
racist...
do that, man? That's what I'm saying. They don't need permission to do that at all.
Well, then these wrestlers are idiots for signing into stupid shit.
If I want to put Sage Ice Cream Shop Incorporated, because that's my employer, Ice Cream Shop Incorporated, I'm breaking kayfabe here.
Right.
Like, my employer can't do nothing to me at all. They're not gonna. They can't do anything to me because they don't own that.
And these wrestlers are just stupid then. By that,
I'm just saying, man. Like, they need like either a union or an agent or something like that, man. Because they can't be letting them run rampant like this, man. They left unchecked. This is what happens, man.
Yeah.
You get disgruntled people. Everyone wants to leave. Privacy is being invaded constantly. Like this. I guess I'm at the point where, man, I'm advocating for the wrestlers to
step it up.
Step it up, man. Start taking ownership of your own brand and challenge the system, man. Like, there's no these paying dues. Like, that's all brainwash stuff.
It's old, man. That's from 1980s. That's
old
70s.
Archaic stuff, man. Nobody does that no more, man. Come on now. You say that stuff for the indies. You're a professional now. You don't pay, you've already paid your dues. That's why you're here. Let's go.
That's what I'm saying. Say some marks. We got in a little bit of an argument, but at the end of the day, we agreed. There is no paying dues. Think about it. If I had 50 million followers on Twitter, WWE would have me on the show next week in a heartbeat.
Yeah. They want to capitalize on my worth.
Yeah.
Trying to splurge off of me. And where'd that check coming from? Because they ain't giving it to me, I'll tell you that.
Ronda, Brock, think about it. They're getting paid all this money. You think WWE is saying, hey, Ronda, give me your password. Hey, Brock, give me the password to something. Those two are saying, nah, I'm all right.
We're going to open up our own webpage and we're going to post our own shit, including our own merch on there, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Y'all should be on that level. Like, on that level.
Now, granted, I say all this. If WWE came to me and said, hey, we're going to give you $2 million a year, my hand would already start writing. It'd already be signed. And I'd be like, all right, cool. My password is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 exclamation point.
Showing up.
So you best believe if I see 6 zeros on that paper, I'm gonna be like, oh, never mind. That It's Real Wrestling podcast is garbage. You should sue my buddy Sage and Mark because he's trash. Here's my password. I'll be off for injured time no matter what. But I digress. I have a confession to make.
What's good, Goose?
I didn't watch Raw or SmackDown this week.
Oh man, it was terrible.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I didn't watch Raw. I didn't watch SmackDown. Monday came. I hopped on Xbox, got off, and thought, all right, let me sit down. And then let me sit down and watch Raw. And I thought, what do I want to see this week in Raw? And this was about 10 o'clock Central Time, so Raw was just about ending up. I thought, what do I want to see in Raw? And the only thing I could think of was the Firefly Funhouse.
Yep, dude.
And it's on YouTube. Because WWE does an amazing job of posting Raw highlights on YouTube, and they post a lot of stuff that gets cut from Hulu. So I watched. That's all I've watched in wrestling this week is the Firefly Funhouse. And a little bit of SmackDown. I won't lie. I did log into Hulu and watch a little bit of SmackDown. But it was like I took a week off. Went to YouTube and the WWE page and everything, read some results, and I felt like I didn't miss anything at all.
Oh no, you missed a lot. It just wasn't worth a lot.
Yeah.
I will say this, man, and I definitely want to touch on the Firefly thing, man. I got a pretty funny story on that. Both shows seemed like they were phoning it in, like literally phoning it in, man. Everything was like extended beyond belief, man. I don't even know where to start, dude. All of the talking segments lasted 2 minutes longer. The matches were like, there was like dead air matches. You had the Usos singing their own theme song coming out, which I don't even know what that was all about. I think that was just a botch on production. Everything just seemed like it just seemed like they didn't know what the direction of the show was supposed to go. Even the main event storyline with AJ and Seth Rollins was just like the back and forth between them. It just seemed like no one was even trying, dude. Wasn't much better on SmackDown, other than the couple of matches were better. The Money in the Bank on Raw is just strictly trash. I don't know what's going on, dude. No qualifying matches whatsoever. You had a talking segment on Raw about the Money in the Bank presented by Alexa Bliss, and then you had like a package vignette for SmackDown's Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
I mean that pretty much summarizes both the way both shows went, man.
Well, but the Revival was on Raw, right?
Shaving each other's backs. Yeah, man. Like it's, I don't know, man. Like
exactly.
I don't know, man. I'm a loss for words. Like I'm legitimately have a loss for words on what's going on right now, man. I'm hoping next week will be better. with it being, I think it's a go-home show next week, or maybe the week after.
For
I think
Money
it
in the
might be.
Bank.
Yeah, I think it might be the week after. Yeah, man, but this was just garbage, dude. I didn't even watch Raw in the full setting, and SmackDown too, man. I ended up taking an extra day to watch them, man. It's just so
Yeah.
disappointed.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like to me. I mean, ultimately, I always end up watching Raw and SmackDown, so I'll catch it, over the weekend or something. But yeah, it seemed like a mailed-in show. And you a fan of Lars Sullivan?
Nope.
Do you think that, especially since he's officially on SmackDown, right? Came out and
Yeah.
attacked the Hardys, he's gonna get built up and just fed to Roman Reigns, lose. Just kind of like how through the 2000s, people would get built up and lose to Cena. Do you think that him losing to Reigns is pretty inevitable, and that'll just be the downfall of him?
I mean, will he lose to Reigns eventually? I don't think he's going to be fed in the traditional sense to Roman Reigns. They're doing Roman Reigns' character a little bit differently. Like, it's literally the slowest build for up to Roman Reigns that I've seen in a long time. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of liking it. Less is more, I think, when it comes to Roman Reigns, at least right now. I do believe that once the belt is off of Kofi, then they're going to probably go full throttle with Roman Reigns. But until that time, I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm not kind of. I don't know what they're gonna do with. I don't know what they're gonna do with Big Man. We'll see. With Lars, I just hope it's not the old school like Umaga, Rusev, all these guys build them up, have them lose to the big guy, and then that's kind of the end of their big push.
Yeah.
So WWE heavily promoted and threw out there that we've got the next Saudi event. I think it's June 7th, June 8th.
Yeah.
So you're not a fan. You're shaking your head of them going back.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it, man.
So let me ask you this. This was my big thing in wrestling this week, the Saudi event. No women have been announced for the card yet. Women are probably not going to be on that card yet. Is that last year, you let it be heard you weren't a fan? Is it necessarily a bad thing that women, because of country values, they're not going to be on the card? But at the end of the day, the women get some extra time off. I don't know this. I'm not a wrestler, but I assume they don't travel internationally with the crew that week. And then women also get their own pay-per-view out of this thing. So is the Saudi event really that bad for the women wrestlers?
I would say yes, and just in the sense that like this is a big payday for everyone who is going to be on the card itself. Like kind of like a yearly bonus kind of thing. Besides the fact that it happens twice a year. So like I still think they get screwed at the end of the day. I think that they get screwed by not being able to participate in it. It is nice that the WWE is paying them back by giving them their own pay-per-view, but I still, from a compensation perspective, like them having their own pay-per-view isn't compared to what the men are getting for going to these shows.
Okay. I could see that. I think it's the women are just getting the best of a not so great situation.
Pretty much.
They're getting a free week off and an extra women-only payday and an extra women-only card. I'm kind of looking forward to the Saudi event. However, let me ask you this, because these events they have on the WWE network,
mm-hmm.
We've said before, they're all just glorified house shows. You think a title will change hands at this one?
I think that there will be a Money in the Bank cash in at this event. Obviously, it's going to be the men's, but I think that that's the reason why they switched the Backlash pay-per-view and put the Money in the Bank to kind of set it up. So that's my guess, man. Is that there will be? It's going to be a cash in, man. I can almost guarantee that there will be a cash in
because titles don't change hands at these things.
Not traditionally. I mean, at least from what we've seen, and they give fake titles that never show the light of day outside of Saudi Arabia. But to me, if I was the marketing guru behind this event here, knowing that it's getting bad press and I'm alienating half of my audience, the question is, how do you get them to watch this event if they feel strongly against watching it? By dangling the Money in the Bank briefcase, the potential cash in for the Money in the Bank, whether you do it or not, or whether it's like, I'm going to cash it in, but I didn't get an opportunity to do so. Like, they're going to be milking that. I guarantee it, as soon as the Money in the Bank is over and they start marketing for the Greatest Royal Rumble. Is that what it's officially called again? The Greatest Royal Rumble?
No, it's just an event in Saudi. I don't think they're doing the Royal Rumble.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that once they start marketing for it, you're going to hear a lot more. There could be a cash in. There could be a cash in. There could be a cash in. And that's going to be like the money grab for it, man. So some cats will, I should say, some catfishes will tailgate the bait, but the shark won't.
Yeah, I feel you. Do you think there's a chance, because they've announced Goldberg, Brock, and Taker will be there, do you think there's any chance we get a Goldberg Roman Reigns match? Because that's actually a WrestleMania worthy match because of just, short matches and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I don't think that there will be a Goldberg Roman Reigns match, if at the very least maybe planting the seeds for that to happen at WrestleMania.
So who do you think Goldberg will fight?
That's going to be Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, okay. I could see that.
Yeah, either in a tag team match or just a one-on-one match. You gotta think of this, like, you gotta think of it like this, man. Like, Saudi Arabia is kind of like 10 years back when it comes to wrestling. So they kind of want to see the stuff that's already happened happen again. Just for the sake of their audience. It's kind of like saying, I'm giving you money to do what I want you to do. And that's essentially how it works out, man. So it's not a bad thing. It's just, it's what they feel like is going to draw them the most money. Putting Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, which are arguably two of the biggest wrestlers from the 2000s era. I think it just makes sense to do that, man.
So who do you think Taker will fight? Maybe Triple H? Keep it safe.
Yeah, maybe Triple H. He might actually fight Elias. I could see him fighting Elias.
Oh, I could see that after what went down the night after Mania.
Yeah, and they haven't really built up anything since. But I think that once the whole Shane McMahon Roman Reigns thing passes by, I think you'll start seeing more of Elias trying to step in with the Undertaker. So.
You think this card will be better if there's a couple title changes? We'll say if there's 2 title changes. You think this card will be better than WrestleMania? No.
WrestleMania was a near perfect card. It wasn't really bad. The only downside to it was just long. And that was pretty much it. Every card on there, I shouldn't say near perfect, but I'm just saying every card on there was really good. For what it was. It's just 7.5 hours is just too long for an event.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else? What else are we missing? Anything else to cover this week?
The Firefly Funhouse, man. I was gonna tell you a funny story, man.
Yes.
So just for those who don't know, because it's still relatively new, it's like 2 weeks in. So Bray Wyatt has recreated himself a character, kind of basing him off of the old 90s, early 2000 kids, what do they call them? Not talk shows, but kids television shows like Blue's Clues and Mr. Rogers and Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse kind of thing. So it's kind of got that vibe to it. You get like the word of the day kind of thing. So I'm digging it, man. I was watching it or waiting for it. I think it came on like the last hour of the first week. And my daughter, she heard the music and saw the lights, and she was just like all for it. And this is week 3, right? Week 3.
4, if you include week 1 was I think 1 or 2 was the dinosaur buzzard, which you and I were like, oh man, this might be bad. And then the doll was week 2, and then week 3 I think was the Firefly,
with the
first
bunny
episode.
and the So every week my daughter's been asking, hey, can I watch this? Hey, can I watch this? Hey, can I watch this? And it's kind of funny. I'm like, it's not really, it draws you in as a kid, right? But it's really meant for the nostalgia for the people who grew up with those types of
it's
things.
dark.
Yeah, definitely dark, man. I love it, man. I love the heal and hurt gloves and him talking to it, and it brings back some good feels, man. I absolutely, I don't know how it's going to translate in the ring, but I'm absolutely loving these vignettes that they're doing, man. It reminds me of like the old school Razor Ramon vignettes,
great
man.
call.
And Waylon Mercy, he even had those types of vignettes too, man. Dude, I'm enjoying this, man. I really am. I could literally see weeks and weeks of this kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, I agree. I like how it is kind of like a Pee-wee's Playhouse. It's the first thing that comes to mind. But one of the things he says, I think he said it in both episodes, I'm not sure. And it gets dark for a second, and then he smiles. It's when he says, hey, yeah, I could do this, I could do that, I could do that. All you have to do is let me in. And you get this creepy demon pedophile, like, I don't mean pedophile like in a disgusting way, but like a creep. You get this creep, like
he's got another agenda, man.
There's and then
he gonna hurt me.
Week 1, you saw the gloves. What was it?
Yeah,
Hurt and Heal.
Hurt and Heal, man.
And there's these little things where you realize this guy's got a really effed up agenda.
Yeah, he does.
And he references, I've done some bad things, but I've changed. So that's what I like. Like they've done a good job about retaining Bray Wyatt still in there.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately it may even, and this is hopefully more than 1 or 2 years down the line, him going back to being old school Bray or whatever. But I dig it. But you're right, though. This could translate into the ring bad. Really bad. If he comes out and takes an L, straight up like first match back or something, it'll be because he's good in the ring. But we also have a Bray right now that's gonna be maturing in a lot of different ways because JoJo's pregnant.
Yeah.
And when I say maturing in a lot of different ways, I'm not saying he's immature, but having a kid for sure, I don't care who you are, it changes you. Either you think, oh shit, I need to party more or something, or oh man, I should probably start going to bed at 9 o'clock, so I gotta be with my kid, all this. Having children changes your life so much. And I think he's going to be a good company man that rolls with the punches and says, all right, this is the gimmick I got. I'm going to make the best of it because this is what I do. I'm this good. I'll show you. And I think his wife has a good job, obviously, being a ring announcer. But, man, I'm pumped for it. I actually hope he doesn't debut for a while.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm hoping this is like at least 6 to 12 weeks before we actually get to see him. Um, like this is entertaining, man. This is kind of like this is kind of like the final deletion, like in the sense that like this is something that we look forward to every week, some type of craziness that's different. So I mean, I'm loving it, man. I'm hoping, and this is just me, man. I really am hoping that maybe they utilize Eric Young and Nikki Cross as characters, like when they get to the ring, kind of thing. I've noticed that since they've debuted the Firefly, that neither one of them has actually been physically seen on WWE television. Um, so I'm hoping that this repackaging of them out of Sanity maybe translates into the Firefly Funhouse, which I think that would be flipping crazy. Like a Nikki Cross playing Abigail. We've said this like way back in the day, man, that's what we would love to see, because Nikki Cross could just like destroy that. But I don't know, man. It's wishful thinking.
Yeah. Before we get into some serious news, anything else outside the ring or inside the ring? I feel like there wasn't really a lot to talk about this week in wrestling.
Nah, did you watch that Sonic the Hedgehog trailer?
Yeah.
What did you think about it, man?
I'll see it because I think fast, speedy people CGI looks badass. Take a look at the MCU, Quicksilver, and X-Men, Days of Future Past. It just looks cool, and it's Sonic. But the movie doesn't look like it's going to be good at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to win any Academy Awards, man. But, I mean, they got me with the Coolio and LV trailer, man. And so, I'm definitely going to cop that Sonic the Hedgehog, man. And Jim Carrey is Dr. Robotnik. Like, I never knew that I would want to see him in that role. And, yeah, I'm digging that, bro. I am definitely digging that. I love Dr. Robotnik.
Ain't got nothing this summer on Godzilla.
I'm not too sold on that, man.
Okay, I want you to go into it with that mentality, because if you recall, me and you saw the last Godzilla.
Yeah.
And we both went to just go see a movie. I think we both went to the same, I'm not going to call it out on the air, but I saw it at a theater that I saw Avengers at that's been redone before it was redone. And that was one of the best damn movies I've seen in a long time. And man, this movie's going to be so many monsters, so much CGI.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Anything else this week?
I mean, that's about it, man. Rest in peace, John Singleton, man. That one kind of caught me by surprise, bro. The dude's not even that old, and had a heart attack, and ended up passing the dust, man. But definitely one of my favorite movies. Too Fast, Too Furious, bro. Like I could watch that all flipping day. The kookiness of the characters and the way that it was shot, it just gives me the good feels, man. So,
yeah, I'll say his favorite movie of mine is for sure Boys
in the Hood.
Yeah, I was gonna say something else, but yeah, Boys in the Hood for sure. It's just a good movie, hell of a movie for the time.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So before we wrap up, we got to say thank you to our fans. I'll let Sage chime in from here on out. I'll pull up the link for GoFundMe here in a bit.
Yeah, man.
Every week we do the show live, and then we put it up on the podcast. Sage is an amazing editor. He puts the show out for you guys each and every week. And you've heard us talk about an individual that's joined us on the chat every week. We do this live every Thursday night. Sorry if you're on the East Coast. We do this a bit late. West Coast, you have no excuse. Your ass needs to be listening to this podcast.
For sure.
But Silky Mel, he won this year's IRWP award for being a very loyal listener. I'm not going to go into details too much, but you could check us out on Instagram. Type in these days now with how many followers we got. Just type in IRWP or It's Real Wrestling Podcast. You'll find us on Instagram where we shared the link. He's had some stuff go down in his life. He's got a child and the mother of his child that are out there were injured in a car accident. So we normally don't go political. We don't go all soppy. We don't go all sad, but we got to represent for one of our loyal listeners out there, Silky Mel Johnson. It's interesting. I'm going to tell you a story about Silky Mel. I'm not going to get too emotional on this. I didn't know that he lived in Texas at all. I went to get my haircut one day. I'm walking out, and some dude stops me and said, and Sage, did you know Silky Mel before the podcast?
I
did you go to high school with him? Did you go to middle school?
I didn't go to middle school with him. I don't even owe him money, bro. I promise you that.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know who he is. And I'm walking out the barbershop, and somebody goes, "Yo, hey, what's up, man? Is that you?" And I looked at him like, "Motherfucker, is that you? What are you talking about? You don't know me." No, as a joke. I said I looked at him and was like, I don't. What do you mean? Is it you? He was like, "Man, It's Real Wrestling Podcast." And I marked out at myself, at a fan. And he said, "Yeah, you Ben Goosen." And it's easy to recognize Sage and I. Sage, what, 6'5", right?
Something like that, man.
6'5",
6'10".
6'10", in the wrestling world, 7'4". He's always got the hair and the beard. I got a half gray man bun. We're recognizable people. And he said, "What's up, man? How you doing? I'm Silky Mel Johnson. I listen to you every week." Man, and I thought, man, that's nuts. Met this dude, real cool dude, took a picture, all that good stuff. But he love your help. There's a mother of his child and his little one were in a car accident and could use your prayers, your thoughts. Direct them to us at on Twitter, Instagram. Hit us up. If you actually did you put it on Twitter, Sage?
Yeah. So if you guys go to our Twitter account at Real WrestleCast, I have that pinned up on the profile. So this is going to be the very first one that you see on there. So it is going to be the link to the GoFundMe account. Definitely would appreciate, donate what you guys can. And even if you can't donate anything, just share out the link. We greatly appreciate it. There's nothing more important than family. And after family comes a strong community. And I feel like, although I don't know Silky and his family personally, I would like to think that as a community that we are family. We take care of our own. Would hate to have this happen to anyone. This shouldn't happen to as a parent. None of this should happen to us. It's not the kind of thing that you ever think of that's ever going to happen or anything like that. But we got to support one another. We got to support each other. There's a lot of negativity in the world. We preach that every week. And even if it's just one act of kindness, I mean, that goes a long way. So definitely our prayers and thoughts and are with Silky and his family. We appreciate everything that you do for us, Silky. And, if we can contribute by, getting the word out and helping anyway, that's definitely what we're here for, man. We do this for you. And by you giving your love to us, it inspires us to keep doing this more. So if we can help in any way, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, definitely let us know, man. Silky was also on an episode, for those loyal listeners, he was on an episode not too long ago talking about how blessed his life is and just we have to remember how blessed we are to wake up every day. So again, visit us, and thank you so much, Sage, for pinning the tweet to the GoFundMe. And it's not even about money necessarily all these days, just great thoughts, prayers, whatever you got. Just keeping the good vibes out there. We appreciate you, Silky. Everything you do, tuning in each and every week. Not trying to end on a somber note, because I don't think if Silky was on the show, I don't think he would end this one on a somber note. Even though this week in wrestling kind of sucked. But we're going to wrap up this week's show and just flat out say thank you to everyone who listens to the show. You know, two years running deep, we got over 1,000 followers, got a lot of listeners. Sage just texted me the other day and said, hey, these downloads are looking consistent. Hit us up at Patreon/IRWP, at Real WrestleCast on Twitter, 419-777-IRWP. We'd love to hear from you guys. And call us too. I mean, we're not shy on picking up the phone. Matter of fact, I think we're actually getting spam calls now, right?
Yeah, man, we getting a little legit, man. A little too legit to quit.
That's what I'm saying. So, but hit us up, man, and we want to hear from you guys. Your thoughts on what's going to be going on with AEW, because the way the card's looking right now, we're not going to have a lot of former WWE guys, which is a plus. I said that 2 weeks ago before we went and saw Avengers. Either which way, shout outs to the wrestling family out there. Shout outs to the community. Shout outs to Silky Melon's family. Trust me, we're pulling for you guys. Hoping everything's all right. And shout outs to Sage and Mark. Through technical difficulties this week, he pulled through. And if you're listening to the live version, you're getting the raw feed, the real feed. And then when you listen,
get the nastiness.
Yeah. And then, you know what, Sage? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna
hate editing this in post, bro. I'm gonna hate editing this, bro.
Sage, when it comes to the IRWP, Sage does somewhere between 25% of the work and 99.9% of the work.
You ain't never lied.
It's somewhere in that gap. And yeah, when you listen to the audio podcast, it's going to probably be heavily edited. Just to clip some of the background noise, all that good stuff. But yeah, we just got to say we appreciate all you listeners. I appreciate Sage and Mark for everything he does. And he contributes to this wonderful podcast, almost going 3 years deep. Needless to say, though, we're kind of ranting. We got to wrap this shit up. Anything else you want to touch on? Or there's nothing more to touch on. Anything else you got to say?
Yeah, Sasha Banks winning the Money in the Bank. Mark my words.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week in the prediction show.
Yeah.
All right. I'm your boy Ben Goosen. Like I said, at Real WrestleCast. Nothing left to say for the week. We're just kind of ranting, rumbling. Hit us up, IRWP, at Real WrestleCast, anytime. Say, do you want to close us out?
I think you already did it, bro. Y'all know the drill.
You want to say it? You want me to say it?
I mean, I already said it, man. Y'all know the drill.
What, we got a catchphrase now?
Oh, jeez.
We got a catchphrase? You want me to say it? Because my mic sounds better than yours this week.
Never gave this jigger money.
You want me to say the catchphrase? Because my mic sounds better than yours?
I mean, whatever, man. Whatever.
Less editing on you if I say it.
Fix my shit.
All right, y'all. We out. Keep it real. Yo, what up? It's your boy Ben Goosen. The thoughts and opinions expressed are that of the IRWP and not of Ben Goosen or Sage and Mark. Hit us up at Real WrestleCast on Twitter, at Real WrestleCast on Twitter, at Real WrestleCast on Twitter. Man, I read an article that said if you say things in threes, people remember it easy. At Real WrestleCast on Twitter, 419-777-IRWP. Legit, hit us up at Real WrestleCast on Twitter. Send us messages. Check out our pinned tweets where we give special shout outs to Silky Mel Johnson, who we talked about in this episode today. Our prayers are out there with you, brother. Have a good night. Keep it real.